Hello everyone, it's Marilyn and welcome back to KK's Quilt Studio. Recently I did a video on how to take the paper insert templates in many of your favorite quilting magazines and turn them into electronic files that you can use to put in your brother's scan and cut out either pieces of the block templates or applique piecing and do it very accurately and cut multiple cuts. Well, today we're going to talk about a similar process, only this time we're going to start in Electric Quilt. Electric Quilt is quilting designware, and I talk more about that in other videos. You'll find them under the Electric Quilt group. So today I'm going to open up Electric Quilt, and this is the page you'll see when you get started. If you already have a quilt existing, you can open it up from here. I've already opened up the quilt we're going to use today, so I'll go right up to the Quilt Work Table tab. And this is a quilt I designed in custom layout, and you can see there's lots of applique and different size piecing, and I want to talk about, we'll be talking about this flower up here in the corner and then this little puppy applique that I have done. So first we're going to move over to print and export, and like I said, I'm going to use that clematis flower. I think this is a block from the applique library here in EQ, and you'll see these four tools here on top light up. We're going to use the templates tools. But first, before we start that, I'm going to go to the print setup. I'm not going to print out a physical printed copy of this file, but I'm actually going to print it to PDF. So I want to save this as a PDF file. So go ahead and click OK once that's done. And now we are going to go into templates. Now, if you are going to do applique, needle turn applique, you will want to go ahead and press the print seam allowance, but I'm going to do raw edge applique, so I just need the actual shape of the pieces, so I'm going to uncheck that print seam allowance and then go into preview, and you'll notice that this block was actually a motif set on a block background. So there is a big square here that I'm not going to need to cut out, so I can delete that piece, and then I just have one item here that I'm going to select, and you'll see that I can select it, it turns red, and then I can drag it into this one page. So this is the only page now that will save to a PDF file or print out. That's one of the neat things about Electric Quilt, is that you can conserve paper and you can drag these pieces to arrange however you need. Now I'm going to click print, and you remember I already selected to print to a PDF file. So I get the print dialog box, but I want to save this as a PDF, and you'll notice that the window here is entitled Save Print Output As, and it's going to save it as a PDF file. So this is the one I've gone ahead and saved, and I'll click Save, and yes. Okay, that's all we need from Electric Quilt for now, so let's move on over into CorelDraw. I've opened up CorelDraw, and I'm going to open a file, and we're going to bring in our PDF file. And I want to import this. It's not looking for text, but looking more for shapes. So I'm going to check curves and then click OK. And there is my page. So I won't be needing a lot of this, so I'm going to delete all these items, delete the wording down here, and I can also delete these letters in here. I'm not going to need all of those. So what I'm going to end up with is something that looks a little like this. I brought all my pieces together. I actually drew a square. Remember from the last video that I used this as a reference point. I created a 1-inch square. You see from the measurements up here that it is 1-inch square. So when I open it in Brother Scan and Cut, I want to make sure that I have accurately brought everything in the size that it's supposed to be. So I use this square as a reference guide. So now, using my shortcut tabs up here, I'm going to export this file as a scalable vector graphic, and I'm calling it Clematis 2, and go ahead and click export. Yes. And we'll leave the defaults as they are. There aren't any issues with this, and click OK. Now that we have that saved, we're going to open up our Canvas workspace, and this is the online version. In the previous video I used the offline version, so we're going to start with a new project, and that will open up our project space. We're going to import the SVG, choose a file. This is the one we saved, and click OK. And you'll see that it comes in all black. That's okay. That means that it has filled everything. We don't need a fill, so we'll go to the edit and take out the fill. This is the line, this is the fill. And then take a look, we've got everything already. There is our square at the correct size, and yes, that square is 1 inch by 1 inch, so that looks good. We could actually delete that, the little trash can, and then all we need to do is pull pieces apart to their grouping according to color. So if you're going to do all your back petals as one color, we just bring them in all at in one area of our cutting mat, and then all you need to do is give your project a title and save it or transfer it to your machine if you have a wireless setup. So let's go back to our electric quilt and take a look. The next thing I wanted to show you is doing a cut file for this little puppy. So we're already on layer 1 in order to access that puppy, because he is an applique, he is an overlay. We need to go to the layer 2 tab of our quilt and select the little puppy, and our printer is already set up. It knows to do SVG files, so we don't need to do anything else. I don't need the seam allowance, so we're going to go to preview, and there you'll see that my dog is very large, so I'm going to need to do some manipulation in order to print it out, and it looks like it's at least going to take 1 page. I probably won't do some of these smaller bits, but I do want the dog body, his ears, and I think this is probably another portion of his foot. We'll do his nose, we'll want to keep that. So I'll pause it for a minute, I'll rearrange things and come right back. So I have deleted all those little bits that were over here. I did keep the nose. I moved my dog over. Now the items can be overlapping, because remember we're going to print this out in a PDF file, and I'm going to show you how to connect these two parts of the dog together. It's okay, like I said, that this overlaps. If that bothers you, you can use your rotate and rotate pieces and then drag them into position. So I've got the dog instead of the ear. Well, let's try to unselect and reselect item. Sometimes this happens. So there, I can move that and again rotate it to get it out of the way. But like I said, it's okay if these pieces, for our purposes, overlap. So we'll just be doing 2 pages worth of PDF file saving. Again, go to print. Your printing dialog comes up, but then your save print output as, and we're going to save it as a puppy PDF. Okay, we're ready to go back over to our Corel, and this time we're going to look for that dog file. There's our puppy, and it's a PDF file. Open. And again, we're not worried about text, we're worried more about shapes. So we have curves. And do we want pages 1 through 3? This time we'll only need pages 1 through 2. Click OK. And there we are. So now I'm going to clean up some of our words, get rid of this extra picture of the little puppy, and come right back. Okay, so I've cleaned up all this up here in the upper corner. Still need to get rid of some text down here in the lower part. We'll go ahead and cut. Okay, and then you'll notice down here we have page 1 and page 2. So I'm going to go to page 2 and select that back end of the dog. We're going to copy, go back to page 1 and paste, bringing this all onto one page, and we're going to align that puppy's body. Let's go ahead and use our zoom tools and zoom in. So we want to go back to our select key, and you'll see this is very much like Art and Stitch. Another file that we use, another design program, in that we have nodes. So I'm going to use my arrow keys to nudge this body to line up with the front part. So I'm just using the arrow keys on my keyboard. Let's go up and look at the other half of the puppy, see how it's lining up, and maybe just another slight nudge. I think that looks pretty good. We'll zoom back out. That looks pretty good. So let's go to select both of our objects. So I selected them by clicking on both objects with my shift key. Sometimes we do that with just the control key, and we're going to connect these objects up together. We're going to go along the top menu bar, go to Object. We're going to combine. So now that is one piece. Again, we'll zoom out, take a look at all of our selections. So that looks good. and we will save that as one file and take it over into our Scan and Cut. Before I save anything though, I need to go back to page 2. Let's select that. I'll get my selection tool. Select that tail, copy it back to page 1. Okay. And I want to change my page to an 11-inch mat, similar to what I would have on my brother's Scan and Cut. So I'll need to go to Layout and to Page Setup, and I have a custom format. We'll go all the way down here to the custom layout, and we'll need 11 inches. And I know your mats are 12 by 12, but we'll do 11 just to keep everything in line. Okay, and then I can, let's zoom out so we can take a look at everything, and we will scoot it over, see if we can get it to fit on 11 mat. No, it's not going to fit, so let's go back to Layout, Page Setup, and we'll have to use this on our longer mat. So the height is going to be, remember we have a 12 by 24 mat, so let's change the height. That should do it, and we will rotate. If you click again, if you click once, you get the little squares for selection. If you click it twice, you'll get the rotation. So we are going to rotate this little puppy and bring him into the center of our mat. Okay, that looks good. So let's go ahead now and save it. We're going to export, so you can use the file export, or you can use this shortcut key up here. Okay, and this time we're going to name it Puppy. It's in an SVG file now. We've gone from an Adobe PDF file, so we're going to save it as a puppy. And okay. All right, we've moved back to our Canvas workspace. The first thing, remember, we want to do is to open up our project file. We want to change our area size to the long mat, the 12 by 24 mat, because that puppy's body is bigger, and we're going to go through the same process that we do with any file. We're going to retrieve it. Retrieve the puppy file and open, and there it is. So we are ready to go ahead, and like we did on the others, we need to remove the fill, go ahead and clean this up and get it ready for cutting on our brother's Scan and Cut. So you can move your objects around and get this all ready to cut your files. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, you can contact me through any of the social media groups. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, be sure and subscribe. There's always something new to explore, and something I am going to be doing a video about. You can contact me through kk'squiltstudio.com, through my website, or always drop me an email. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. I am going to have an upcoming class on drawing programs like CorelDraw and Inkscape, and you can, if you subscribe to my email, you'll be first to hear about it. There is always a discount, introductory discount on classes, so I hope that you'll sign up and join me. So until we meet again next time, I wish you happy quilting.